morning. Super kicking it with Stephen and Greg fans right here. Your favorite two hosts, Stephen A. 1181 right here. The Greg the Wiz over there. Lots of talk up. John Cena heel turn. How do we like the 25,000-minute promo? I think he's still talking, Greg. Plenty of blood and guts and sweat and tears from AEW Revolution. And maybe one of the more disgusting spots ever in a wrestling ring live on TV. Yeah, that was the week that was. No. Anyways, we'll get started right away, Greg. Just try to check in, see how your week's been going, and we'll get into all this fun stuff about wrestling.
It's been a good week. Like the start of March Madness has been fun. My Chargers are signing some good names to the roster. The not splashy names, but dudes who, fit the profile and are going to help them make that next step forward. So I've been happy with who they're bringing in. And, work is working. So can't complain too much about that. Just got to save money for next month's trip. So
next
edition. Yeah, which I've set up to coincide with WrestleMania. So we'll see if I end up in Vegas for a few days.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I when they announced Stone Cold Steve Austin, you know me, Greg. That is a big one, but that stuff sold out quicker than probably Taylor Swift's concert. And the only thing left was the oversized autograph session. So, title belts and cardboard cutouts. So I wish I would have maybe had the more means to do that. But I did do, of course, I did do this.
What do we have here? Okay.
Yep. So that's the newest right there. That was last Sunday, Greg, in honor of 316. May or may not have decided on a tradition right now, but so,
I see.
When they say tattoos are addictive, they are not lying, but yeah. So
very
that was
nice.
a fun little day. It was the tattoo guy's like, normally I don't work Sundays, but he's like, hey, I'm willing to do it. And I get there and we're talking. He's like, yeah, and I even booked 2 more people after you. So I should have been like, well, man, I need a referral bonus for that. So
there you go.
Maybe
you start a new tradition for him.
Yeah, he got a busy Sunday. So and then I was on our robotics state competition yesterday, which is why I'm totally out of energy. It was a long ass day. We get there about 7:30ish in the morning. Just compete. Kind of rough outing. A couple things went wrong, of course, but that's how it goes sometimes. And we made it to state after not. This team. We just added them in October, and they rebuilt a brand new robot about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So a lot of cool stuff with them, and a lot of learning happened yesterday. So, but it's just a long day because you're just there all day, and then still got to come back and kind of unload and unwind, and just so much chaos happening. So I was very glad to. As I was driving home, I'm a big music guy, Greg, and I had to turn off the radio. Like I just was like, I need silence because there's a lot of kids wandering, a lot of whistles, and a lot of loud, just conversation. So I'm like, okay, I need silence.
Yeah,
that was
totally get it.
Well needed. So yeah, some days from school, it's like even though I have a short drive home, I just turn off the radio, turn off the music, turn off everything because you're just like, man, okay, I need nothing. So, but we'll go at it again next year and see what next year brings. But I got another week of spring break, so we'll see. Got my niece and nephews; they're on spring break this week, so might get a few minutes with them one day. And yeah, so just go enjoy it. This school year is flying by.
It is.
So, yeah, but anyway, so well, hopefully you'll get to Vegas, Greg. That, like I said, I was like, can I just go out there to meet Stone Cold? And I mean, his picture sold out like nothing. And then, like I said, the last because that is the next thing. Like if I meet him, I would like to take his signature and autograph, tattoo it on me. So
You should send him a shot of that.
that's
Maybe get a response.
I tweeted him. Don't you worry. Just like I was like, I got that tattoo of a robot last year of our team that went to state. I'm like, come on, man. That didn't go viral here in town. Man, it takes a lot. But anyway, so let's get into the wrestling thick of things. The big news is that Alexa Bliss, she was pulled from the world schedule. Doesn't sound like she'll be on WrestleMania because they're going to hopefully do something with her with the Wyatt Six. So kind of a good news, bad news in a way. Hopefully they can finally get back with the Wyatt Six now that Bo Dallas. I started to say Bo Howdy, but Bo Dallas, aka Uncle Howdy, is cleared to return. Don't know how he got injured, Greg. I felt like that was kind of a mysterious thing. Hopefully that was nothing too terrible, but obviously they've been off TV. You know, I think you could still run them on TV if you don't have Bo Dallas. Let the other guys work some, but
Right.
hopefully, reset the picture for them. Figure out how you want to put Alexa. I've been vouching all along that we do Alexa and Nikki versus Liv and Raquel. I think it would have been a good little WrestleMania match, but I'm glad. This should be good to hear that she's going to be paired with them and kind of see where she goes with that. But hopefully things can move ahead forward for all. What are you thinking on this end of things?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. Because looking at it, it looks like Alexa was distancing herself from the Wyatt Six a little bit, but she's still coming out with the jacket and paying the tribute to Bray. So you wonder exactly what's her level of cooperation going to be. And I think it was some type of trailer or maybe something on Twitter that I saw that it looks like she was a target of the Wyatt Six. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work, and how we put this together. Either she's going to be to go with us or against this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And let this play out, because it looks like she's going into a different version of Alexa, a non-supernatural version.
Yeah.
And then, but she's still wearing the supernatural Alexa gear. So
there's definitely teases. I felt like there was a couple teases with the Wyatt Six and her. So, and she got the biggest pop at the Rumble. So it sucks that things couldn't work out for WrestleMania, because I think you could have really, like I said, done the tag team match with them or something. You got to find some plan for her.
Right.
I hate to bring her back, with all this pomp and circumstance, and it looks a little bad because there was already rumors that maybe she wasn't happy with the direction that they were going before she came back to the Rumble. So you don't want things on the wrong foot when you're first coming back.
Right.
Yeah. And then the other bit of news was the whole Sting. Will he or won't he be able to show up, of course, for Lex Luger? I know you were an old WCW head, Greg. So,
yep.
I mean, I was trying to think. I'm like, I don't know who currently in WWE or, who would do Lex Luger's induction. But it obviously, I mean, you could probably do DDP if you can't get Sting, right? Because DDP's definitely vouching and pushing him to walk and do all this, Greg. So if they can't get Sting, then you let DDP do it. People have jokingly said DDP needs to be inducted just for all this work he's doing outside the ring to help guys like Scott Hall and Jake the Snake Roberts and now Lex Luger. And I know there's thousands upon thousands, maybe even higher, Greg, of women and men, outside the wrestling realm that have done DDP yoga to really turn their lives around. Like not just physically, it's like an all encompassing thing. So, Sting obviously makes a lot of sense with all the history. And, even if you don't maybe have him on TV, hopefully Sting could be present there, Greg. So.
Yeah, I agree. So, even if Sting is retired, I guess the problem is he's still under contract. So, if he is, I doubt we'll see him. And if he's not, then, he is the perfect choice to induct Lex Luger. They do have a great history going back to WCW, some excellent matches, some great stories. Uh, so, as long as he's not wrestling, I'm happy with seeing Sting be a presenter and get on the mic and, you know, put Luger over one more time. Uh, it's sad to look at Luger in the state that he's in compared to, the way he looked back in the day. And like, wow, this is what he's become now. But this just shows the toll that wrestling puts on your body. Uh, when your muscles have muscles, putting people in the torture rack seems like nothing. But, now all that pressure on your spine, all that pressure on your muscles, your whole anatomy is coming back to, you have to pay the bill for that. So, and now he's in a wheelchair. So it's kind of sad to see him like that. But DDP doing yeoman's work, helping him get right, helping him get to probably the more healthier state than he's been in years, decades, maybe. Um, so I wouldn't mind seeing Sting do the presenting and have him come back and, pay homage. But I agree with you. If it's not Sting, it's definitely should be DDP for the work he's doing.
And I mean, what a moment if he could end up walking, even for a second to present, to earn his induction, Greg, and have to I think that's really what they're working. I was trying to read up on it. It looked like he was paralyzed because of a flight one day back in 2007. I will say he looks much healthier, like you said, Greg, too, in the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, it looked pretty bad there a few years ago, just like a shell of himself. But he looks like he's much happier, healthier, and obviously that work with DDP has really improved things. And I mean, I think mentally, because like you said, to look back at pictures of himself and think where he was. I mean, obviously that's going to do a toll on you, Greg, and I think that takes a lot to overcome. But and people still bring up Miss Elizabeth and all the circumstances surrounding that. How do you come to terms with that finally? So because that's always going to be in the back of your mind, I would think. Her overdosing because he was big into drugs too back in the day with her. So that's just so many mental hurdles to overcome. But him getting inducted, I think, is huge. Haven't really heard anybody else, so we have Triple H, Michelle McCool, and him. Looks like they're still going to do it that Friday, like kind of after SmackDown. And we're going to get the roast of WrestleMania, Greg, but that will not be televised. I'm guessing that will be posted to social media stuff, here and there. So a lot of non-wrestling events for WWE's WrestleMania weekends.
Yeah, but, I think a good candidate also would be Ric Flair.
Yeah,
he was a horseman for a while.
Yeah,
and he and Ric Flair did have some great matches while Luger was the babyface and going up against the horseman.
And the WCW aspect. I mean, I'm sure they're big friends outside the ring. Let's get into it. So we finally got John Cena, Greg. No new music, no new look, no new much of anything. But hey, we deserve that. Is what is essentially what he said. A lot of talking by John Cena, Greg. It felt like an Attitude Era-esque 25-minute, 30-minute promo, and 25 minutes of that was John Cena. No mention of The Rock at all, which is very interesting. People have been running with that. Does that mean The Rock is out now for WrestleMania? Does that mean, or is it just a keep him out of sight, out of mind for the time being, Greg, so we could focus on Cody and Cena? But I thought Cody played it well. I don't want this, whiny version of you. and because that's essentially what it was. I mean,
Yeah.
and it was an odd promo, Greg, because you think like he's trashing a fan saying, "And you never gave me anything." Well, we only gave our time, money, blood,
Yeah.
blood, sweat, and tears. I've told the story many times of mocking my brother when he cried and he met John Cena, Greg, twice. So, you know, it is what it is. But you know, and there was definitely moments that like, okay, John Cena had some valid points, but I thought Cody cleaning it up in a way, just like,
Yeah.
hey, you know, not attacking him, you know, because he's like, if you come this way at WrestleMania, I'm going to roll over you. So, and I thought that was huge because then, you know, you could have had John Cena maybe step it up, but now you have John Cena thinking, you do almost have John Cena like second guessing himself in a way for, you know, and we're
Hmm.
going to get him back live this week in, where did they say? Scotland, I think it is. Yeah, Scotland. Um, Another early 3 p.m., 4 p.m., whatever time, probably 1 p.m. your time, Greg. Live Raw on Netflix. So we'll see what their. I'll be interested to see what the direction is. You know, do we maybe get Cody speaking a little bit more and Cena attacking him? So, um, yeah, I think that's probably. Yeah, I think you want to reverse the roles. Maybe let Cody speak up a little bit more and go at that. But what did you think, Greg? No new presentation, no new nothing, but a lot of diatribe from John
Yeah.
Cena.
I had some mixed feelings about it, especially um, after he picks up the mic and he gets the Dominant Mysterio treatment. They're booing
Yeah,
him, and he does the "Okay, I'm leaving" and not say anything, and then he comes back, and then "I'm leaving," I'm not saying anything, and then he comes back, uh, working that, and then the first things out of his mouth was, "I've been a victim,"
yeah, yeah.
and I was like, "Oh
Toxic
God,
relationship.
really?" Right. The biggest eye roll was like, okay, this is basic heel 101 doing the "I've been a victim" card. Uh, but he did do a good job of bringing it around and explaining it. I mean, I've been very vocal about, guys who, when they turn heel and they cut their promo and the stuff they're saying makes so much sense, aka KA or KO or Drew McIntyre. What they're saying makes so much sense. You can
Mhm.
understand why that
Yeah,
they are the way they are now. And so with John Cena, when he finally got into the meat of his argument and saying why, I'm this way now, you guys turned on me, everything I did was good enough. And, some of it rang hollow, but like you said, some of the things he said, you think back and like, okay, he's right. Okay, he's right.
mhm.
And, you know, it got me off the ledge when he played the victim card to start with, and then started, um, justifying his actions. Um, I like they didn't include The Rock in what he was saying because he wants to make this all about him, and he did a very good job of making it all about him, especially pointing out a kid in the crowd to go, "You're toxic too."
Mhm.
So you
Yeah,
kind
that
of
kid is the
enjoyed
new
that.
meme, the new Just Say Yes guy, the new Ms. Girl. Yeah,
Yep, yep. That kid scarred for
and I
life.
guess the biggest heel move is not changing anything up, right? Because what if
Right.
you go back to Doctor Thugonomics and people are like, "Oh, I love that song." Well, then you're getting the cool guy heel, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
this is probably, like we said, this is probably the biggest heel move to do. Just keep everything this, and you know, WWE probably has all this retirement gear in tow. You're not
Mm-hmm.
going to change up, you know, his look too much, Greg. So,
Right, and that was probably one of my favorite parts of the promo because he's like, because we talked about it last week. How is he going to come out? He's going to have new music. He's going to have new gear, and he said that specifically. You get no new gear. You get no new music. You get nothing. And I was like, okay, because that hits you right there because we all been sitting on it. It's like, how's it going to look? How's it going to be? And it's like you still get the same John Cena that you've seen the last 25 years. You get nothing extra, nothing special. You get this is what you get. And
yeah.
so that's him digging in his heels and going, I'm not changing for you. And that feeds into what he'd been saying the whole time. He's had to change to make people happy, and it still wasn't enough. So he brought me back around by the time he got to the end of it. And then, like you said, Cody put a nice little bow on it and goes, this is John Cena, I'm going to fight. Then, he's going to get dog walk out of here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to old yeller him behind the barn. So I
that's
think
huge.
that's huge. I think that this lights that fire in John Cena, because how many times you've seen John Cena left speechless? And it reminds me of Ricochet after they did the whole thing with the toilet paper, and he's just standing there in the middle of the ring covered in toilet paper, and he's seething. And that's kind of John Cena after Cody left. He's standing in the ring, no music, no nothing. He's just standing there seething. And so I think that's going to, light that heel fire. And, for the first time ever, we may see him jump somebody from behind or attack somebody with weapons backstage and bloody people up. Very un-Cena-like stuff. But now, okay, this is what you want. This is what you're going to get. Kind of like The Rock last year. When Cody started that up and Rock came out, he started cursing. He started doing cheap shots. He started beating Cody up backstage and the whole Mama Road stuff. And he took his game up to another level on the heel side. I think we're getting up seeing John Cena do the same thing.
Yeah. I guess that's what we're going to see like the next few weeks. How does this all unfold? Do we bring The Rock back into it? Maybe we let The Rock, like we said, out of sight, out of mind, and kind of let that play out. So Penta got a huge win, Greg, and Penta made a nice appearance at the end of the night. I guess we're off and rolling. Do we think anybody else gets added to this Penta Braun Breaker stuff? I mean, I know we've talked about Sheamus maybe getting in there, but I think one-on-one, if you're doing Penta versus Braun, man, put all the chips on Penta and give him that IC title, right, Greg?
I agreed. He's super hot. He's white hot right now. And everybody wants to see it happen. And Braun is elevated, and beating him is going to elevate Penta, and they're both going to level up after having it's not going to be a one-off. They're going to have a couple of matches, I'm sure. And but the first one should be a WrestleMania. It should be that special coordination and the arrival of Pentagon. So I think we have some multi-person, maybe Kaiser tries to get involved again or something like that. But at the end of the day, it should be Penta and Braun one-on-one. And, Penta gets his, arrival trophy now that he's done such great work, and that he's like super over in just a couple months.
I guess you could do the multi-man contenders match on the way to WrestleMania. Then that way you kind of give everybody a shot at it. And then it also shows, how much you're behind Penta. If he can beat Sheamus and Ludwig, maybe even Pete Dunne in a multi-man match. And then we go one-on-one at WrestleMania.
Right.
Kind of a surprise. I thought maybe Ivy Nile might have beat Dakota Kai, Greg, because you kind of had Ivy wanting to go the IC title route, but now you have Dakota Kai, who's already lost, two times to Lyra. We also do have the Bailey. Looks like Bailey and Lyra might go one-on-one at it. So not really much there, because I want to get into, Greg, the women's side of things for the World Championship. So we know we had Io Sky out there. We had Bianca Belair. They signed their contract. And Rhea Ripley pulls an old, Shawn Michaels move. I mean, we've seen this move done a few times, Greg, and we were wondering how she would involve herself. Well, she just signs a damn contract. And what a way to insert yourself into the picture. Obviously Adam Pearce is they're going to find a way to make it official, as in the words of Adam Pearce. He's not ready to do it yet, Greg, because that's how things work. But Rhea probably attacking both women next week is going to force his hand. I was trying to think if Rhea has I think she has her submission move. That could be the way to do it, Greg. The old, put me in the match, or I, paralyze this person, or I don't let up on this. So, but this is the way we had to go. We knew Rhea had to be involved. We knew Bianca. We knew Io was obviously going to be involved, Greg. The big picture, big ideas. Could this main event night one? But we still got the other triple threat match, Greg. So this could maybe open up the night one, just to give it that nice shine. But all three strong women in the Raw picture of the Women's Championship had to be involved at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I guess so. I still don't like it.
I just don't know what else you were going to do with Rhea, and you're not going to live Rhea with the year she has, and just you know how popular she is, Greg. So
I do, and getting her involved some way would make sense, but
yeah,
it just goes back to my issue with you win the Elimination Chamber, you get a one-on-one match. And I get the beef and the history and everything, and how we're going to get her involved. And it's too easy a template to follow. You interrupt the contract signing, you put your name on the contract, and now, hey, I'm a third member. So there's ways around it, of course. You can have Pierce hold his ground, and then she beats up the other two to the point where they insist to Pierce that she gets put into the match so they can get their payback. Is the way I think it's going to go, because he's already come out and said you can't just sign the name on the contract and be in the match. So he needs to stick to his word and have it happen another way. And I think that would be the other way, is that Io and Bianca have to be insisting that, okay, put her in the match, because she's not going to get away with this kind of thing. Io's already been very vocal about being disrespected, and so is Bianca. So I think that is probably going to go that route. They're going to end up in the office. They manage to get put into the match, or maybe a week from now, after another week of Rhea shenanigans happen. So that's what we're going to get. Still not a fan of. I'd be more open to her being, if she had ended up being the guest referee.
Okay, yeah, I was kind of wondering where that. Yeah.
So, because what that could ensue. So
she could get backlash, like she could get the backlash match, because backlash comes pretty soon after WrestleMania anyway. So you kind of have her involved there.
So it looks like that's the way it's going to happen, but. And I'm sure it'll be a great match, but I was more excited about Bianca and Rhea first time ever at WrestleMania being a huge match, and then you switch the title, gave it to Io, and now she's involved in not exactly a main character in the story. It's kind of an ancillary character, but now she has a title, so she becomes the main character too. So different angles, and once they get to WrestleMania, it's going to be awesome anyway. I have it. The three of them, I'm sure, are going to put on a banger. I'm just not a fan of how it got there.
Jey Uso won a squash match because John Cena ran over. That's essentially what I read. Now Jey Uso and a mystery partner, Greg, will face Austin Theory and Grayson Waller at Scotland. And there is a certain individual where you say his name and he appears, that is from Scotland, and is possibly going to be in town for Raw that night, Greg. So I hope we could get a little Joe Hendry action at this week's Raw, because I was trying to think, I'm like, who else could be Jey Uso's tag team partner? I feel like you would just announce Jey Uso and blah blah blah, right? If you're not, and really, Jey doesn't have many friends on the Raw roster right now. It feels like, Greg, to get him, get his back. Sammy is injured, and that's that's pretty much. But so I'm really hoping that we get a little say his name. kudos to Joe Hendry, Greg. I'm not a big gamer, but I saw he's going to be in PUBG. If I don't remember, I don't know if that game is still big, but obviously it's big that he's going to be in that game. So that's pretty cool. He'll be like a new character, or not new, but he'll be appear because they wanted to say his name, like Fortnite and all those games. So pretty cool for Joe Hendry to get that. And like I said, what a moment if he could get it in his hometown of Scotland to be the partner of Jey Uso. Great. I really hope Triple H seems to love him, using him down in NXT here and there. And he came at the Rumble. So what better moment than show up on Monday night?
Sure. This sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was Scottish because I barely heard him talk. But, it would be a good pop for the audience and, one of those feel-good moments in the middle of the show. So, I can co-sign on that.
Yep. Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee defeated the Creed brothers. So, man, Master Gable is not going to be happy with this. His American, and we did see the mystery luchador, Greg, come out. So we're going to get a little, whatever that luchador. I'm seeing that there was a name of Gable Americano being trademarked possibly, or some sort of Grande Americano, I think is what they were saying. So do we see Chad Gable, the luchador, wrestle at WrestleMania, Greg? I don't know where else we're going with this, right?
Yeah, I think that, if we're going to keep this up, that we wait to, what he's been doing with the, the quick run-ins.
Yeah.
And not, showing himself yet, even though the mask says American made on it.
And we did make a good way that there was a fan who had the American made getting arrested while Chad Gable was talking, almost like Owen Hart / Blue Blazer. That's what this is really making me think of back in the day, Greg. Where, Owen Hart vehemently denied being a Blue Blazer, and even a couple of times you'd have Owen Hart come after the Blue Blazer would be out. So that's a fun little way but obviously in the grand scheme, we're going to need American made overall, Greg, start winning some matches, right?
Yeah, I think what this looks like for me is that, we keep this going until WrestleMania, and then he finally gets into the ring and does the open challenge bit. And that's where we get the unveiling of Rey Fenix. He's ready for the luchadors. Now he's going to get in the ring, call out a luchador, and that's where we're going to see Rey Fenix come out. And then, he's still going to be a great technical match, and we're going to get to show off Rey Fenix's moves. But, the whole angle of I need to become, good against the luchadors. And, this is what you're going to get. This is the end of the story. And this is how we bring Rey Fenix in on the biggest stage. So I saw that
he is being teased on SmackDown. So obviously they have something in the works for him.
Yeah. So I think that's where he's going. He's going to end up in the program with Chad Gable, much like his brother did, get off on the right foot, and have a big introduction to the world at WrestleMania on the big stage. So no better place to do it.
Seth Rollins just gave a nice speech promo, Greg, about targeting Roman and CM Punk. We saw it more play out at SmackDown. We did not see the Punk favor being returned yet. That's very interesting, Greg, because you kind of feel like, well, now you're probably going to wait to WrestleMania to give the favor back, right? And then some people have thrown out the idea, Greg, what if Seth Rollins has Paul Heyman in his back pocket? And I have not even thought of that avenue, Greg, but man, Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman as a duo, that would definitely be a nice return to the heel side for Seth. And maybe finally get him away from all the, big colorful clothes and all the, singing his song and all that, Greg. So there's a few, little avenues you could go there at WrestleMania. And that, like I said, Seth, Roman, and Punk, Greg, I don't know how you could not main event that on night one. If that's, that is the way we're going because they've already given us the graphic for it. So
Yeah, it's a good theory. I saw something online that they're dropping the freaking out of his name.
they took out Big Bronson Reed and they did Dirty Dom is now just Dom. So yeah, they're starting to get away from the middle nicknames, I guess, of people, right? So that's probably a good thing.
Right. And I'm wondering, is that because a new character change is coming?
Yeah.
Because if we're going to do the coalition of Paul Heyman guys, that this could be a reason for that, because he's going to shift his whole focus a different way. And, I think it's about time for that. For me personally, the whole visionary, revolutionary nonsense has just been just nonsense, just words. So, and the clothes is, is good for an Instagram post, but I don't see what the purpose in it was. So, and once you lose the song, then the whole crowd is going to turn on you because, you don't get to sing anymore. So, if you're going to go heel, that's a great way to do it. So I'm very interested because now it's like we're definitely going to have a 3-man match with Roman, Seth, and Punk. And but I'm still leaving it open that something else could happen as far as, I don't know if they end up on the same team or somebody gets taken out beforehand. Just seems like there's more, something else is going to happen before WrestleMania gets here.
Well, and like we said too, if you have if you do play out the Paul Heyman favor to Punk, what is that? What is that favor? But you could also, and like I said, you could maybe also have it happen at Mania. Heyman says, "Hey, I gave you the favor," and he still turns on him because it also gets Heyman away from the bloodline and Roman. I mean, we're probably due for Roman to kind of go back to his own thing, and we've never seen Seth Rollins be a Paul Heyman guy, Greg. So why not run with that avenue? But Braun Breaker did defeat Finn Balor. We keep hearing new member. We're hearing, now what Dom kind of cost him the match, Greg. So where is Finn Balor headed for at WrestleMania? I'm really not sure where Finn Balor's road is yet. Do you?
It's looking more to me like Finn Balor is going to end up leaving or getting kicked out.
Yeah.
There's maybe a mutiny because it's like Liv is slowly becoming the leader of the group. And they may end up, kicking out Finn and bringing in another member to replace him because they've been saying, we need a new member. And he's been the one person who says no new members. So, if you don't want anybody else, then boom, you're out. And this could be puts Finn back to face, gives him a spot to go against the Judgment Day as, newly minted babyface again. And that could get his spot on the card. And then we pivot Judgment Day to being, Live Run, just like it was run with Rhea Ripley and for a long time. And they just become more heelish because they're going to add, somebody else you don't like.
Could AJ Styles be that member?
Who?
AJ Styles?
That would be a punch in the neck right there. Just Finn's out, AJ's in. They've been boys already. Bullet Club back in the day and all that. So that would be
nice gut punch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be here for it too. That would be awesome. See what AJ could do as the man in charge.
Yep. Yeah. Anything else from Raw that I might have missed?
No, but they were nailed it.
Yep. So we had some NXT stuff. We have women's champion Chelsea Green with her new her Secret Service. her service, whatever they're calling
Purvis.
it. Purvis. Yes, I knew
Purvis.
I was working. Thank you. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm looking for here, but so cool to see Alba Fire involved, Greg. Her and Piper Niven are besties outside the ring, so that makes sense. And it gets Alba Fire away from the unholy union stuff, Greg. Ela Dawn has been posting fire, as I say, on Instagram, Greg. Oh my goodness. It is sucks that she got let go because man, they too bad they couldn't have done something with her. But hey, cool for Alba Fire to be involved with something while you're kind of waiting to see what you could do with her. But Chelsea and Sol Ruka had a really solid match. Sol Ruka is going to be a fan favorite for years to come with the Soul Crusher, Greg. And anything kind of there in that match for you?
Hey, I'm a Soul fan,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see her, winning a title at WrestleMania with that Soul Snatcher. It's just a most beautiful move
Mm-hmm.
going in the game today. Give shout out to the prettiest moonsault ever and Jacob Fatu's moonsault. But for my money, I'm taking Soul's finisher as far as just from the beauty aspect over everybody's.
Yeah.
And she, like I said, she's going to be a huge favorite for years and years to come. But she's on her way up. She's not there, but
She'll get there.
this is how you get there.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, just and putting her with Chelsea Green like in a match, Greg, that's saying a lot for her. So, speaking of title matches, what Stephanie Vaquer is going to have to do 2 matches possibly in one night, Greg, coming up soon. I guess it's going to be interesting to see what she does for WrestleMania for Stand and Deliver with being both titles. Best wishes to Julia. I'm hearing she's injured, which is why they put the title on Stephanie and kind of why they did that so quickly. So hopefully Julia could get all healthy and health right, Greg. Because man, Julia was headed on a nice trend, and it feels like now you might have to reset her a little bit when she comes back. But Stephanie looks definitely. Speaking of fire, Instagram post, Greg, man, Stephanie Vaquer definitely knows how to hit the angles right, as they say, when taking Instagram posts. But cool to see her getting that opportunity. Any kind of thoughts on Stephanie Vaquer right now?
Yeah, she's growing on me. I like her look. Her in-ring is really good. And I'm not that impressed with her finisher, but this is what it is. It's going to that'll evolve too. And she's just working her way through. But she's had solid matches against everybody she's been in there with. The match against Julia was awesome, I thought. And she's going to represent the title very well, and I think she's going to deliver bangers after bangers. So I'm impressed with what I see with her and Julia as well. She looks amazing, and so I hope she gets well soon and she's back in the ring after not too long. It's going to bum her if she's going to have to miss WrestleMania, but she'll be primed and ready for next year's.
Yeah, I was going to say, surely there'll be more for her to come down the road.
Absolutely.
Hank and Tank 8th AL to Josh Briggs. That's still a thing, Greg. Josh Briggs and this Yoshiki Inamura. What about the calling? What do we think with Sean Spears? He is our new North American champion. He finally kind of gets something, Greg, after years of just kind of being in NXT. Feels like things are finally clicking for him down there, doesn't it?
It does. He's molded his own new little family. Seems to be the way these days.
Yeah.
Grow over your own family. And
I mean, I guess it's a good way to see where you're at mic wise, and I think it's also telling for who they put you with, because you can mold those guys. A lot of I feel like because Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze have a wrestling academy anyway, Greg. So they definitely know their way around the how to train people. So I think it's also telling who they're putting them with to build them up. And we also can say Tony D'Angelo is attacked by Dark State, I think is what they're calling them now. The four guys that have been showing up here and there. So interesting to kind of attack him. I noticed they have not attacked Trick Williams. They've been going after everybody else, Greg. So some people have been running with is Trick Williams gonna, have a new faction to run with? Even though I think he's totally ready for the main roster, but then it makes sense, like we said, this whole idea of you're putting kind of veteran presence or a over superstar with a bunch of guys that need to get over. So Trick Williams maybe possibly being as the leader of that new group.
I don't know. I wouldn't be against it. Trick has seemed to be a little more edgy these days.
Turning
since
heel.
he lost his title.
Yeah.
So it could be one of those, it's like between him and Kaylani, they've been moving towards the dark side, slowly but surely, it looks like. And we've seen Trick as heel-ish when he was with Carmelo, when he was first introduced, before they became big favorites.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to see what Trick looks like as a straight up heel.
Yeah.
And kind of the same way with Braun. Once Braun became a heel down in NXT, he took off.
Really took off, yeah.
And so can Braun or can Trick duplicate that? I wouldn't put it against him, especially if you put him in the group of this new these 4 guys that are doing their best Shield impersonation and taking out everybody they see. I'd be here for it, see how that goes. And that's a good way to put Trick into a heel light instantly. Have him be the leader of this group, and they're going to get the shine spotlight, going to learn what the names are. And so that's the perfect way to do it. And save for Sean Spears, the guys that he's running with, aside from Izzy Dame, we barely know who they are, but they look the part. And they're starting to perform the part too. So, down there, it's all making sense what they're doing.
Some faction warfare too that we could run with. Maybe if you do Battleground, that seems to be a big, kind of pay-per-view for NXT. So maybe you could finally give us some cool, faction warfare type deal with that stuff. JC Jane picked up a win, and Ricky Saints, good old AKA Ricky Starks, with the line of the night where he said, "I always measure up in the bedroom, or I measure up everywhere, so don't you worry about that." He is definitely ready to explode onto the, whatever roster they send him, right, Greg?
I think so. I mean, he's got his following already. He's ready to go, and he doesn't need that much time down there to reintroduce himself. Once he showed up, everybody knew. So I think that's probably what Triple H was looking to see. Are people gonna know? Because I'm sure there's a big enough cross section of WWE fans who are watching it or watching AEW, but just want to make sure that he had that type of gravity already, or if he need to be left down there for some seasoning. But it's very obvious that he's ready to go.
Some SmackDown things happened. So we finally get Randy Orton and Kevin Owens facing off, Greg. Does Sami Zayn make an appearance at WrestleMania to kind of even pull the favor for Orton or something like that, Greg? Or is this just straight up one-on-one match at WrestleMania?
No, I think he does, because this match is going to end up being a no DQ or some type of special stipulation, because just having a standard wrestling match isn't going to work, especially with Randy threatening to kick his head into the bleachers. So it's going to be no holds barred or some type of match like that where disqualifications don't count, and we're talking about already including pile drivers and punch to the head. So you're going to need a match that's open-ended like that. So there's no danger of disqualifications or countouts and all that stuff. So we're going to get a special match, and that's going to be a way that Sammy can make his appearance and have an impact, whether he pops up and knocks Kevin over the head with a chair or whatever he does, that he'll be able to make his appearance and have his WrestleMania moment.
Yeah. Or you feel like, the ref will be lenient with things or some shenanigans happen. So
Yeah.
Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso, Big Jim, got the win over Drew and Shinsuke. Man, please, Nakamura, Greg. When he's finally released, it will be interesting what the final say on his WWE career will be. Because I feel like it'd be like a what if. There's definitely moments. I mean, but yeah. And we're getting Damian Priest and Drew at WrestleMania. Yeah. That's all I have to say on that. I still just
Right. Yeah, I feel bad for Shinsuke too because he came back, he got a little push for a minute, and then it was gone. And I'm a Shinsuke fan since the NXT days, so it's sad to see. But I hope they let him go and he can go back and get his shine on back in Japan, or maybe it looks good in AEW. But
I mean, it might just be the end. I just don't know if he, I just feel like he's not. I mean, he's done probably all he can, right? I mean, I just don't know if there's much more, what more success or what more is there for him to try to earn. So,
yeah,
Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte had some words. Charlotte kind of beat her on the mic. Obviously, she's so much more comfortable. I'm really waiting for that moment where Tiffany feels more comfortable. Everything still feels a little robotic and so scripted. And obviously, she's still young, so I don't think they give her the leash that they give Charlotte, Greg. But I still think Tiffany needs to win over Charlotte at WrestleMania. But that's just, I guess we'll save that for predictions. But Charlotte definitely owned her on the mic this round and probably will continue because, like we said, Tiffany just still has the lines kind of handed to her. And hopefully they kind of let that leash loosen up, Greg, for her.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. But like I said, she's still a little too new to the game to be able to hang with Charlotte on the stick.
Yeah.
A year from now, that could be completely different. But
yeah, that's true.
She'll get there, kind of like the other ladies. She's going to get there, but she's still got to get her take her lumps, and she's going to be fine. But like I said, there's going to be an interesting prediction because I haven't chosen a side yet as far as they go. But Tiffany will get there, and we'll be all better for it. So,
speaking of getting there and maybe already there, Jacob Fatu, we're seeing him slowly show he's ready to be done with Solo. Solo calls the DQ. Him and Tama were trying to be out there to help, Jacob, and Jacob wasn't having that, Greg. So now Braun Strowman is heading off to, fight LA Knight probably. Does Jacob somehow get involved with the U.S. title by Mania, Greg, or where are we going with Jacob Fatu here?
He's got to be involved somehow. And it's going to be, we're already looking at a lot of 3-person matches.
That's the downfall. I don't think I need any more 3-person. We got the 2 big ones. Like, we don't need another one.
Right. And that's it's trending that way at the moment. So, I don't want Braun in the mix. Braun is and always will be Braun. He hasn't really changed a bit, and it's a little played for me. I'd rather
maybe Braun in LA like in the next couple weeks. So then that way Jacob
number one contenders match maybe.
Yeah.
And Braun, if they do the battle royal, Braun can be in the battle royal. So I'd rather see Jacob and LA Knight go at it than Braun and LA Knight.
Yeah, and because we had that rumor of a few weeks ago where it said it wasn't going to be Jacob and Solo 1-on-1 because there's other plans. So obviously the other plan is Jacob and LA Knight for the U.S. title, and I am fine. I love LA Knight, Greg. I know you love LA Knight, but man, it's Jacob's time, and then that could also splinter him from that could make Solo jealous because Solo never got a damn title. Not even the tag team titles. So, you can have the Braun or you can have Solo and Jacob, maybe SummerSlam for the U.S. title down the road or something. So I'm all for Jacob. I mean, having Jacob get his coming out party, having Penta get his coming out party, that's what WrestleMania should be about, and guys
Absolutely.
solidifying their places and girls. So,
And
Piper Nip, sorry, go ahead.
I think it would fit that, let's say, because, I'm an LA Knight guy from day one, but love Jacob. You talking about how good you are on the stick, and then those promos. I mean, I can listen to Jacob talk for days. That guy, he makes me want to run through the wall. So getting him the title, and like I said, feeding that jealousy with Solo, taking it back to when he had the when he and one of the Tongans won the tag team championships, and he told Jacob to give the title to the other Tongan. It could be the same thing where, okay, you're U.S. champion now, give it to me.
Yeah, and then that's when we're off and running.
Right, and Jacob's like, no, that's not going to happen. Yeah. And there you go. There's your divide, and the lines can't be any more clear.
Piper Niven defeated Selena Vega, who came out to Crickets, Greg. We're pushing Zelina for this U.S. title match, Greg, but man, I don't know if the crowd's going to be behind the crowd. I mean, the crowd loves Chelsea, Greg. So you're going to have to really do something with, and you'd even have Zelina try to defeat Piper. So, yeah, I think that push, I don't know where we're going with that, but we should get into, because obviously there's not much here to talk about right now. Liv Morgan defeating Jade, Greg. Is Liv Morgan the new Hulk Hogan? She just beats everybody. But the big news was Naomi kind of causing the whole, going after Jade. And man, it's crazy to think we could get Jade and Naomi one-on-one at WrestleMania with no titles on the line, which please let that be the because we need to finally put women's matches that have no titles, just a blood feud, as you like to say, Greg. And let Jade or whoever wins there wins there. But because some people are pushing, Naomi to beat Jade at WrestleMania, but then it's Jade. Like, she probably needs a big win at Mania. So I think that is the route to go. I'm still not sure where Liv and Raquel go yet, but I'm sure we'll find a way for them to fit. But the bigger picture is Jade and Naomi, because I still think, Greg, we're going to involve Bianca after WrestleMania.
Yeah. I'm disappointed because it looks like my prediction from last year is not coming to fruition.
Yeah, it will need a few changes, Greg, but
yeah. So I'm not saying it can't happen, but it doesn't like it's going to happen. So, but I will say I like them, turning Naomi and giving her the edge, giving her some, putting some fire behind her, and, the heel runs the story. And so, what she says is going to, or what she does is going to influence what happens with Jade. And her getting the first shot in this, well, maybe not the first shot. The Elimination Chamber was the first, but her getting, the payback and, establishing herself. Okay, you're not just going to squash me. And showing she can damage and hurt Jade is going to add some credibility, and you can do the, sneak attacks. You can do, all the heel moves that you want. And I'm sure Naomi, being the veteran she is going to be awesome at it. Yeah. It's going to be different for us because we haven't seen it before. So I didn't know what to think of the Owen Hart caution tape.
Yeah.
I get the symbolism of
enough is enough.
Right.
It's time for a change.
So I thought that was weird because that was the first thing I thought when I saw the caution. I was like, is that what I think it? Yep, it is. Yeah. So I hope that's not what they go with for the duration of this Naomi heel run. This is just a one-off kind of thing. But I want to see what dangerous Naomi looks like, and I have confidence that she and Jay can have a great match at WrestleMania. So I'm signing on it tentatively because we've seen Jade not do so hot on big stages. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Like I said,
This is the biggest stage she's
could,
got. Like this could really be a moment to see where Jade's at.
Right.
Sink or swim, as they say. But yeah. So, tag team division, Greg. We did see the Street Profits beat Los Garza because they were interrupted by Legado de Fantasma and Pretty Deadly. I think we've said it for weeks and weeks and weeks, Greg. It is going to be a multi-man tag team match for the SmackDown titles. So, kind of any closing thoughts on that end?
Hey, I'm with it. I'm happy that my guys, the Street Profits, finally have the tag team titles back. Mm-hmm. I've always been a hype man for Street Profits, kind of like NXT, and it was a Percy Watson, who was no bigger hype man for the Street Profits than him. Mm-hmm. That's me right now. I'm loving the Street Profits, always have, and I'm so happy that they got the belts back. Yeah, it definitely looks like we're going to get a multi-man match. Mm-hmm. I'm saying put a ladder in the ring.
Give us
go to chairs.
TLC 2, 3, 4, whatever number.
Throw everybody in the mix. The DIY, Tommaso and Johnny, Pretty Deadly. Who else we got? So we got a good 4-team.
Motor City Machine Guns.
Oh, Machine Guns. Yep. It's a good 5-team TLC match would be.
That's where we need to go.
Jaw-dropping match with all those spots. Good half hour of, somersaults and acrobats, and
let them have the time. Hopefully.
So I think that's definitely where we're going. We got to put a ladder in the match. You're going to have that many people in the match.
That could open the night and really get the crowd going. So be like, follow that type deal. So
and get more shine for all the teams that are in there, because I look at the Garzas and like, man, look at Pretty Deadly and like, man, Machine Guns, Street Profits, absolutely. Tommaso and Johnny right in the middle. So this could level up everybody to
let everybody have their moments. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, that's kind of all I had on the WWE side of things. Let's just jump right into AEW. They did have Revolution. I know we've had about a week away from it, Greg, but we don't have to hit every match because some matches were not that great. Moxley and Coke. But anyways, MJF loses to Adam Page. And, now we're still kind of seeing where MJF might go. The overtures from the Street Profits. I just feel like the visual of the MJF with the Hurt Syndicate. Oh my gosh, we were just talking about that. Sorry. Anyways, the visual of MJF. He definitely was a little darker anyway, Greg. So maybe he'll just put on more bronzer if he wants to fit in with them. But the Hurt Syndicate doing the overtures at MVP, still trying to get him. I just say go with it, see what happens. But it is AEW. We tend to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. But MJF gets the loss there. Not a bad match. A really solid opener, right?
Yeah, it was solid. And I like what you said about him becoming a new member. It's going to look a little funny at first, and then is he going to be willing to share the stick with MVP?
Yeah, but that could also lead into maybe Bobby Lashley and MJF, and we want to see that kind of showdown to see where things could go with that. Maybe we need MJF to put the ring on the line though at some point. Let's see where that can go. I think he tried to use it in this match. If I remember.
He did.
And so it kind of cost him, but and Hangman Adam Page needs to work on it. Well, he'll never do it again. The Fallen Angel move, because that was not a very pretty tribute to Christopher Daniels, Greg. So Mercedes wins. Mercedes wins. No Momo moment for you, Greg.
Bro.
Anyways, Strickland won. Obviously, he defeated Ricochet. They tried to swerve us. Prince Nana leaves. Prince Nana comes back, and everything's all good.
Yep.
Because that's pretty much the story of that match.
Pretty much.
Don't worry, Ricochet got his moment on Dynamite with Speedball, Mike Bailey. We'll get into that in a second. Okada defeated Brody King. That happened. Hurt Syndicate won, Greg. Let's get into the Hollywood ending because, man, they pulled out the Axelrod and Balls Mahoney moment of taping your hands and going with glass. We had, plenty of tables crashing. We had just blood and guts spilled everywhere, Greg. And that's why when you look at the end of the night, either this match or Ospreay and Fletcher should have main evented. That's
agreed,
much 100%. There. But just what a way to end. And, the bigger news will be, where does Mariah May go now? That's right. I really want to see where Mariah goes because, I think you almost have to kind of reset her character, don't you, Greg?
Yeah, you do. A little tweak though. She doesn't need much because she's fleshed out her character to, something we want to see, and she's solid all around. Her look, her ring, her interest, everything. She's gone from just being a sidekick to being a superstar.
Yeah.
So kind of like watching an NFL player go from being a rookie to, like Jaden Daniels last year. Like, he is here.
A lot of coming out moments. Yes.
Yeah. So, Mariah May had that, and she is here now. She is somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious how this match was going to go, and it exceeded my expectations by 1,000,000 miles.
I did not see broken glass on taped knuckles, Greg.
I did not get it until they both started digging in. My eyes probably got big as spaceships, and I had never seen women do that, and that was awesome.
Might not see it again.
Exactly. Yeah. Who's going to be willing to do that? But amazing match. My favorite match of the night. I will tell you that now. That was awesome.
Well, it is crazy to think, like, look at Mariah May, Greg, like, and then to think she's willing to do that. That's, I think she's, as I say, she's one of them sickos, and Toni Storm's just a beast anyway. She's definitely jacked to the gills, especially in the thigh area, Greg. And, she's willing to do anything in the ring. So,
bleed all over the arena. Just, not just the glass spot, but
they had the heel. I was like, the heel was pulled out. So we had all and just the closing shot of her holding her, and it says the end. Like, that was the perfect outing for them. So Kenny Omega did defeat Takeshita. We're heading off, Greg. We've said it before, Okada versus Omega, unify the titles, and move on from there. So
another banger though. This was an awesome match.
Good outing for Takeshita.
There were many spots where you was like, okay, Takeshita's going to win. No, Omega's going to win. And they kept going back and forth because they were hitting each other so hard. It's like a Marvel movie where you hit somebody and the glass on the building shakes or shatters. And that's what that match reminded me of, because they were hitting each other with everything. So, Sheamus would have been proud. That was a 5-alarm banger right there.
And then Ospreay and Fletcher, steel cage, they pulled out all, even brought Mark Davis. Even Mark Davis got the bleed, being involved outside the ring, Greg. And, being reluctant. Do we see Mark Davis finally embrace the Callis family? Or is this just, him going to be reluctant until he finally turns on them?
Yeah. It feels like there's going to be a moment where there's going to be a, we're going to do the right thing or we're going to do the wrong thing.
I don't think we need another member with the Callis family, right? Unless you're
No.
getting rid of somebody. So I feel
Right.
like you said, I think the reunion with Will Ospreay probably needs to not, even though they weren't tag team champions, they were part of the United Empire. So I think, Callis finally being too much for Mark Davis is the way to go.
I agree.
So, I was trying to think of any good. I mean, there was the superplex off the cage. I mean, there was plenty of spots in this match. Thumbtacks were involved. Whenever we see the black bag, Greg, it's not very hard to. We ain't getting Jake the Snake Roberts snake anymore out of that black bag.
Yeah.
We're getting the tax. So both guys. I mean, this should have ended the night because then we followed up with Moxley and Cope.
Yeah.
And we had hey, we did get rid of Christian's contract, so that helps.
Yes.
But people are running with Copeland is turning into Hulk Hogan because he doesn't eat pins. And I don't know if I necessarily buy that. I think it's all Tony Khan wanting to protect Cope more than anything. So
yeah, it was
a match.
It was a match. It's kind of what we expected a little bit with the cash in and all that. I'm just glad that it didn't play out in a title change.
Yeah.
And this is the road that Moxley used to save himself. So I like the way they closed it with Christian screwing everything up and, like I said, protecting Cope by having him not take the fall. But having Christian come down and ruining everything and Moxley taking advantage. It was genius, I thought. The match itself was but it served its purpose and got rid of the Christian contract. But I thought it was going to put Cope in the rearview mirror at that point. We'll get to that, but
we can.
But it keeps Moxley with the title until a more worthy challenger comes along, which was what I wanted anyway.
That's Swerve.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's going to take it off Moxley, it should be somebody who is up and coming and not somebody who is closer to retirement than he is to, a year-long title reign.
And Swerve got his moment at Dynasty last year, Greg. So that could be a nice, Swerve's pay-per-view to, kind of reestablish himself. But
yeah, the only problem with Swerve is that he doesn't have a crew to run with like he used to.
Yeah.
To offset Moxley's crew.
Let's just get into it, though, Greg. The street fight, pulling the spike out of the back, one of the more cringe in a, oh my God, that's really happening moment. And then they realize how bad the spikes are put into the back, Greg. It is kind of crazy. They saved that moment for a live TV moment instead of a pay-per-view moment. But this does officially put Copeland out of the picture, though, right?
It better.
Yeah.
I had a few thoughts about it. One, if you can't use that spot and get a pin out of it, you suck.
What are we doing here? Yeah.
and I thought the same thing. It's like they wasted this moment on a random Dynamite than having this on a pay-per-view. Because that was a pay-per-view moment. And if anybody ever questioned if Spike was a real weapon or just kind of a gimmick for looks, now you know. Yeah. I think GCW walked into the building, saw that spot, and nope, and walked right back out. That was probably one of the most extreme things I've ever seen on TV, knowing that it was real.
It's hard to fake trying to pull out a big old, piece of metal out of the back.
Yeah, and it's
and who are you to even I don't know what to do here. I'm out of it. And then the ref, luckily, they did pull away, to try to give that moment to get that thing out, because who knows how much more damage
Yeah.
And the best was Renee's Instagram post, Greg, saying, "This is my emergency contact." Like, when you consider, you know, I guess it does make you feel like, well, hell, if I get a paper cut, I better not cry or complain about it, Greg. If somebody could take a spike to the back, yeah. So
Yeah, that was a very dangerous spot, and I'm surprised they did that. Especially because I always looked at Spike and go, it looks a little too, you know, not real.
it ain't
And
acupuncture. It's not an acupuncture table anymore, Greg.
yeah, but now I see it like that's a real weapon with real like construction nails up in there.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I guess the thing is too, we won't recreate that spot. I think that was by accident. So,
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it.
I almost think he just landed and, landed it where or it got pushed up too hard, thrown up too hard in the air on it, took too much of a jump. But,
Yeah,
so yeah, but
but
I guess the other story is what's going on with FTR. Are we going to see a heel turn with them, Greg? Because it's been teased. They didn't shake hands with Undisputed Kingdom. And now they're turning. And we did have Willow Nightingale involve herself, which was nice to see. Nice little spot for Willow. You could definitely tell Edge really believes in Willow because she's been involved a few times with him. Orange Cassidy putting her over too, Greg. So they're high on Willow Nightingale. Now if she start moving her stock up, but Dax is the one who walked out.
yeah.
No handshake, no helping him up. And Cash kind of left him out in the wander, but yeah,
I don't know if you felt it too, but when at the end of the match, they're standing on either side of them, I thought they were both going to beat him down too.
Yeah,
It had that feel about it for a second,
and that could still be to come, right? I mean, and maybe that might be a good way to write off Copeland, for some time being as they kind of reset his character after all this. Yeah. Mike Speedball Bailey got a nice win with Ricochet. So now they're going to get the shot at the International Championship, Greg. And that is going to be one hell of a quick. You better not blink because we're going to see all the fast spots in that match. Even Omega can run with the best of them when he really needs to, Greg. So I'm looking forward to that triple threat because I think, we're going to get a lot of high flying action in that match. Speedball has definitely earned his keep. He's worked a lot on the indies side of things, Greg, and now he's shown him off. But it's once again shiny new toy. How long does he stay in the people's picture?
right? I've only seen Speedball a couple times.
Yeah,
over 10 years maybe.
Yeah.
So, but what I did see, this week, it looks good. He's solid. He has great moves. So, and he's super fast. So, like I said, him and Ricochet just by themselves would make you dizzy. So, throw Omega in there and, he can work with that style. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And like I said, don't blink and hopefully nobody gets hurt because that's a lot of high velocity going at you from all directions.
It always makes me think of the Street Fighter characters, Ken and Ryu, whenever I see Speedball. He looks like he could be a long lost brother of them because he kind of does the Street Fighter gear look. So, yeah. Mercedes wins again, Greg. She beats Billy, but she said if she would have trained Billy Starks, she would have done a lot better. And Athena was the original trainer of Billy Starks. So maybe another championship for Mercedes coming her way, Greg, the ROH championship. Because I don't know if you know, but Athena is the ROH champion. It's been what, almost 2 years now, I think, or pushing almost close to 2.5 years, Greg. So it's probably finally time to put Athena on another stepping stone. And what better way to throw all the championships? Her and Mercedes for title. So really good outing for Billy. Sorry. I thought Billy Starks, man, it's so crazy what, a couple years removed from high school to think of what she's doing, in a TV promote or in a wrestling promotion, Greg. The sky is really the limit for her. So, any thoughts on Mercedes and Billy Starks?
I agree with you. Is that match was better than I expected it to be, having not much exposure to Billy Starks, and just knowing of her background a little bit. And that was a banger of a match. I really enjoyed it. And, when it starts surpassing your expectations, you get more, invested. And now I'm curious to see what she's going to be able to do moving forward. Aside from the blue hair, she's kind of plain, but, she's shown in the ring she can go. So that's what gets people in your corner. And we'll see what happens as far as she being able to develop her character and, win people over. And that's going to, help. We be down for a rematch if it comes to that. So Athena, I've almost forgotten what Athena looks like because she's been buried on ROH, and I don't even know where to find the ROH standalone shows. So it's good to see still, doing it, but
time to give her she needs to be on Dynamite and let her
she does
show what she can do.
She's been 2-year champion, and we haven't even seen a title defense. So I think that's doing her a disservice.
Yeah, I get, the ROH thing with AEW is so tough because they tell you go to watch ROH.com, and it's like, hey, we don't need another, streaming app. Like, I would like, it's too bad they couldn't work out something with TBS or TNT to even give them an hour, a week of ROH, and, that could give it some more exposure. But,
well, you could throw a single match into Dynamite just to give it some attention.
I mean, when Chris Jericho's the champion of ROH, he shows up with the title. So it's just a weird settings. Will Ospreay wins, but what about Megan Bayne, our new number one contender, Greg? She's one big, what, according to Tony Storm on commentary. Oh my gosh, the innuendos were flying, Greg.
Right.
And then even the promo, what'd she say? I'm gonna leave this with the strap on. I was like, whoa, yep, that definitely was said. So, but it is Tony Storm, and man, now we're gonna get her and Megan Bayne going at it. Chris Statlander is still one of my favorites, Greg, and she will be at the Square Circle Expo. Can't wait to kind of mix it up with her for a second. And we will get Megan Bayne getting the number one contendership at Dynasty. So looking forward to seeing Megan Bayne finally get that kind of spotlight with Tony Storm, Craig.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a Megan Bayne fan. I mean, pretty much because she's smoking hot, but I'm liking what she's doing in the ring. She looks the part. She wrestles the part. She's just,
I think it's just the scary strength that like her and Statlander have.
Yeah.
Like you said with, Claudio, you look at them, you're like, they're not that, I'm sure they, bang out some weights, Greg, but then you just see them effortlessly, pick up people that are twice their, like, just the Megan Bayne look is crazy. Like, because like you said, she looks like she can't lift, 20 pounds or whatever, but then you just see her easily pick up Chris like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she's gonna, Tony Storm's gonna let her throw her around the ring, Greg.
Exactly.
As they say, and then that's just gonna put Megan Bayne on another level. So,
yeah, I haven't been able to gauge how well she's getting over with the crowd because
that does. Yes, I will agree with that. It's hard telling if people are just kind of like cheering when, like I said, when she kind of shows off the feats of strength, or is it they're actually getting behind her?
Yeah.
And so I do question is it maybe too soon for her to go at Tony Storm?
Out of it's too soon because she needs that profile that that shine.
Do you think we should, or how about should we be putting this at Dynasty, or should this be like a Dynamite match?
I like they're doing it at Dynasty
Okay.
because you know, bigger stage and
Hmm.
more eyeballs on it, hopefully,
Yeah.
and that's going to help her get over.
Hmm.
So I have no problem with it being on Dynasty, but
Okay.
um, she needs that. She needs all the exposure she can get. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, will she get it? That's a different story. But
Yeah.
she has a great showing against Tony at Dynasty. Then she could be on her way.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I do question if it feels to me more like a dynamite match, but
Yeah,
like you said, give it's. I guess it's a good moment to see if the crowd is truly with her. Not obviously they kind of they boo her as the heel because you're going to have Tony Storm, and that could be the thing too. We really could gauge where the crowd is at with this match. So.
yeah.
I did have the quick kind of Josh Alexander. Whenever he's available, Greg, I'm ready to see what he can do. But I'm a little worried. Will he get the shiny toy, and then he's gone in a few weeks from AEW? Because the guy can go. He goes in the ring. He's a workhorse. I wish he. I hate saying it. I wish he would have went to WWE because I think he could have got the whole presentation, Greg.
Sure.
Um, but I also think he's thinking more of his family and the time off, and probably getting a lighter schedule is where he's really headed. So, and I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm guessing he's mid-30s, maybe late 30s. So it's not to say you could still go in your mid 40s and go, finish the career in WWE, Greg. But I was kind of hoping, he'd take a shot on himself. I feel like AEW is the safer route for him. So,
Yeah.
and is it much
Well,
higher than TNA? I mean, he was the big fish in that pond. So,
right.
yeah. But
Um,
anyways,
yeah, I'm curious to see what he can do in AEW.
yeah,
Like I said, they do have a attraction to shiny new toys, and then just end up cast to the wayside. I mean, you have to be able to put it on yourself and make yourself stand out
that's
in
true.
AEW more so than in WWE. Um,
And
and
that could be what he wants to. Maybe he wants to show what he can really do without maybe the resources necessarily.
yeah, I mean, going back to Ricochet again, he's a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
He was getting the shiny toy treatment, and then he's getting cast aside, and then
Took upon himself to really do something.
right, and now look at him.
Yeah.
He's the most fun heel to watch in the whole company. I'm sure it's arguable, but
Hmm.
for me, he is at least. And after I've watched Josh Alexander, not a lot, but
Hmm.
I know how good he is. But he seemed kind of uh, generic's the wrong word, but I haven't seen him show much character and personality and um, give us those traits that we can
Yeah.
get behind. As a
Well, his
wrestler, he's an amazing
presentation
wrestler.
is as a wrestler. He doesn't stand out really physically. Doesn't really have a look per se. He's got the clean cut beard. He's got the bald fade. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the wrestling gear, like legit. To
Yeah,
the headgear and all that, Greg. So that's why I was like, oh, maybe NXT or WWE could really spruce up what is kind of missing there to round them all out. But like you said, hey, you go to AEW, you kind of got to sink and swim on your own sometimes. So
yeah,
it might be, he proves himself in AEW that WWE comes calling. They're like, just think what we could do with you. So, but, yeah, that's really all. We brought up on we talked beforehand. AEW had Collision. They got tonight and tomorrow, or last night and tomorrow, or tonight. I'm all thrown off. My days are running into each other, Greg. Uh, yeah, so that happened. Collision happened, but anything for the good of the matter as your last call. Did you run a bracket this year, Greg?
I did not. I've
Okay.
maybe watched 10 minutes of college basketball
Yeah, join the
all year.
club.
So But as far as the men goes, I put Duke as the champion, and that's it.
Yeah.
Fill in the rest of the blanks as you want, but that's usually the safe bet for me. I put Duke in there, and
Yeah.
my Wolfpack, they didn't even make the show,
Mhm.
and Duke seems to always make it to the Final Four, Final Eight. So I put Duke in and walk away. So if they end up winning, I told you so. If they don't, well.
Well, I'm going with the Cougars of Houston. Feels like they keep knocking on that doorstep, and feels like they got the solid roster. Like you said, I've watched 0 minutes of basketball, college basketball at least. I'm all in on my Pacers. You know me, Greg. Your Suns are kind of sneaking in the play-in tournament. I think I saw a couple of days ago they're pushing for that play-in tournament spot. So, might see stuff there. But my Pacers pushed into fourth seed, 3 games back of the Knicks for the third. I think I kind of want them to stay in that fourth, 5 seed, so you could play the Cavs instead of the Celtics. I don't know if that's it's kind of pick your poison right now with how well the Cavs are playing, Greg. I think the Cavs were still right in another 12 or 13 game winning streak.
Yep, they were
I was
until they
like, they
ran into
were.
my Suns.
No, your Suns, were they streak ruiners?
They did. They beat them
Okay.
123 to 112.
Was
So
that recently then?
that was 2 nights ago.
Okay. That's
So
okay.
all of a sudden they figured out how to play basketball, and they've been reeling off some wins.
Yeah.
So
Trying to look at the standings real quick. Your son, oh yeah, they're right in the 10th spot, but you've won 3 in a row.
yeah,
You can, um, yeah, got the Thunder up there, the Rockets, the Timberwolves have fallen down. I thought they were a little bit higher up there. Now they've, kind of, I don't know if you saw my Pacers, the depleted Pacers beat the Timberwolves on Monday night, Greg. I mean, the roster we had out there starting 5 was ridiculous. It was some guys that haven't even gotten like 20 minutes of play. So to beat the Timberwolves was pretty big. Then we beat the Nets back, not back to back, but we played the Nets 2 games. We get the Timberwolves again. We got the Lakers coming to town, Greg. So hopefully we can ruin all the fans that love the Lakers here in Indy. Kind of
there
let
you
that
go.
play out, but my Pacers sit pretty strong in the 4th spot. Got the Bucks and the Pistons kind of right behind them. But I was thinking, man, give me Bucks and Pacers again, Greg. First round. So, yeah, and like I said, your Suns maybe giving a run for that 8 seed if they can, like you said, learn how to work with the players they got there.
Yeah, it's been a long time since they had a 3-game win streak, which is sad
Durant
to say.
scored 42. How about that?
Right? So, hey, it's like we can play basketball again. So they haven't had a full lobotomies yet.
Mm-hmm. The Cavs have a 4th straight loss, it says. Also, the Cavs are kind of starting, even though they're still way ahead in the standings. So, kind of on a little slide there. Not the slides you want though when you're heading to the playoffs.
Yeah, agreed. So, good things popping up finally. Maybe get an interesting. Well, at least for you, it's going to be a great playoffs.
That's what I'm hoping.
We'll see if we get into the show. We're close. We're on the cusp. So
Yeah.
looks like they were going to give up.
Because like with my Pacers last year, they kind of snuck by. We had a depleted Bucks team. Jalen Brunson went down in the Knicks series. So, people were asterisks, putting the asterisks on our playoff run last year. So I really hope, we can kind of prove that wrong. The Bucks kind of celebrated like they beat us last Saturday, and they acted like it was an NBA Finals match, even though we just beat the night before. So yeah, kind of things are brewing in the NBA right now. So that's all I got for the good of the matter. Thanks for being here. Probably live again next Sunday, Greg, if you can do it. I got a birthday party for my niece who's turning 1 soon, so we're going to do a little birthday celebration for her next Saturday. Are you okay with another Sunday outing?
Sunday sounds good.
Okay. Well, we will be here next Sunday for your viewing pleasure. Thank you for being here. On the road to WrestleMania. It feels like it can't get here quick enough, but I'm really looking forward to that weekend and seeing all the shenanigans that will unfold. And got Dynasty coming up in April. Plenty of wrestling to talk. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your week. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Peace.